I just had the single best trading session of my entire trading career. $50,000 in one single session, a full $25,000 top step payout in just a couple hours. In this video, I'm going to go over my entire thought process for the morning and what led me to actually taking these trades throughout the trading day. But before I get into that, if you guys could leave a like on the video, subscribe, and join the free Discord link down in the description, that would be greatly appreciated. So the first thing I want to go over is the stats page for my 150K Express funded top step accounts. I normally trade the 50K accounts, but I had recently, a couple weeks ago, blown a set of 50K accounts. I had taken $50,000 in payouts from those accounts, and then after that most recent payout that I took, I did actually blow those accounts, but I got pretty good use out of them taking 50K before I actually blew them. So once I blew them, I decided to test out a couple take profit trader accounts, and I was able to take a payout with them as well for right around $14,000 leading up to the month of February. And then once February started, I decided to open up 5 more top step accounts, this time going for the 150K sizing just because I figured it would be better to have more drawdown. When I'm going for the $10,000 profit or max payout with Top Step, I figured it would obviously just be easier instead of having $2,000 of drawdown to work with to have $4,500. That would make that $10,000 a little bit easier to make and give me a little bit more breathing room to where I don't have to worry about blowing my accounts in a much shorter amount of time. But in this instance, it didn't really matter what size account I took. As you can see here, I had a 100% win rate. My accounts were basically never in drawdown in the trading day today. My profit on the day is $10,000 per account. As you can see here, they're all the exact same profit number, $10,109.60. So now at this point, the only thing I have to do before taking the actual payout itself is get 4 more days of $150 of profit. So hopefully I'll be able to do that without running into any bumps along the way. But at this point, I'm going to take my $10,000, stop trading with it, and the only thing I'm going to do for the next 4 trading days is go for 4 very small wins of right around $150, lock in that payout, and then move on from that point. But anyway, moving on to the actual stats here, you can see $10,000 profit, 100% win rate, and my average win was $1,400. I took 7 trades, as you can see here. 4 of those ended up being break even, and only 3 of them were ones that actually went to full profit. All right, so moving on to this page of information here, we can see total number of trades 7. Average trade duration was only 3 minutes and 41 seconds. And that just goes to show how extremely volatile the trading day was today. I had 3 trades that basically were all $3,000 or more in profit, and the average trade duration was only 3 minutes. The trading day was extremely volatile today. It basically just went straight down, and during that process, I was obviously looking into shorts, and during that time, I was not able to take a single loss. I only took wins, and between entering the trades and actually hitting full profit, it was happening extremely fast today. And then the last thing of importance on this stats page right here, you can see my monthly P&L calendar right here. You can see Tuesday is my first trading day with these accounts. So right off the bat, a brand new set of 5 accounts, and you can see the first day that we've traded them, we are already at $10,000. These were a brand new set of accounts. Literally my first ever trades that I took on them, and this was the result of that. So now from this point, I'm going to pull up the actual chart from this morning so that way we can look at the actual price action and see the trades that I actually entered in. Okay, so here we are on the graph of NQ from this morning. As you can see here, all of these lines that I have mapped out, all these are just prior highs and lows. There's nothing else going on there. These are just lines that I use as my reference of where important levels are, liquidity areas and stuff like that. So that's all that these lines are. But heading into the trading day today, looking at the 4-hour chart, you could see that we were in a significant downtrend. We had a little bit of pullback. We were not able to break this prior high though. So I was looking for shorts initially just based on the 4-hour chart. And then from this point, I'm going to zoom into the 1-hour chart and see what's going on with that. Up until that point, the 1-hour chart was actually looking a little bit bullish heading into this morning. But compared to what the 4-hour chart was looking like, I was still leaning towards shorts, but I keep zooming in and see if I can get a better picture of what's going on. And as you can see here, leading into the open here, you can see that we failed to create a higher high at this 8 o'clock 30-minute candle right here. And if you switch it to the 15-minute, you can get a little bit better view of that exact setup that I'm talking about. You can see that we failed to create a new high right here. So we've now created a lower high, and then we started downtrending pretty significantly. So at this point, basically all the different time frames except for the 1 hour was telling me that I was going to be looking for shorts throughout the trading day today. So now I'm going to move into the 1 minute time frame and show you guys my actual entries and talk about my thought process going into that as well. So as you can see here, this was the first setup that I had taken, and this was my take profit right here. And this trade was what started it all. I had this rejection candle form right here, along with a couple more long wicks that were telling me that price was rejecting, along with a significant downtrend in the 1 minute time frame. That told me that this was a good time to enter in short, and that's exactly what I did. This was at 9:25, so this was 5 minutes prior to open. So I didn't want to get stopped out due to the volatility of market open. So I moved my trade to break even right at 9:29, just so I didn't get chopped around and take a loss just due to the opening volatility. And this trade, as you can see here, if I move this out of the way, it almost went to full profit. It missed my profit by about 4 points, and then it completely retraced, and this ended up being a break-even trade. So this was a really sad way to start out the day. And then literally the exact next 1 minute candle. So in a 1 minute frame, I went from thousands of dollars in the profit to a break-even trade. And then the next candle dropped from 25,940 all the way down to 25,890. So a 50-point 1 minute candle. It would have been a full profit trade for me, but I took a break-even trade and then had to be sidelined for literally the rest of this entire market open downward push. I was not able to take a single trade, and I was just basically stuck on the sideline watching until I saw a better opportunity present itself. And eventually I did, after we took out all these other levels too. So I get rid of these levels, and then I move down. I have other levels mapped out here. As you can see, I have this low mapped out and I have this low mapped out. Once we had made such a huge push and volatility was so extreme, I start setting my sights at more realistic goals. So I'm no longer looking at the most obvious high time frame liquidity levels. I start looking at some more realistic intraday levels that we could actually hit and set my goals based on those, rather than looking at huge high time frame swings that just aren't realistic after we'd already made like a 400 point push. So after that, I'm not going to look for another 400 point push, even though in this instance, it does look like the markets are looking to do that for the day today. But again, I'm just trying to do what's realistic, not trying to do what just happened to have happened today. So going back to my 1 minute time frame, again, we're still in a significant downtrend at this point into me getting into this actual trade. So I see a little bit of pullback, which is nice because there really wasn't much throughout this entire stretch from 9:30 to about 10 o'clock. But I finally get a little bit of pullback, and I see a potential good entry on this rejection candle right here. There's another rejection candle forms right after. And from that point, I take my first full profit trade of the morning. So right here, you can see this was a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. I was risking a little bit less than $1,000 and took right around a $3,500 profit from this one. And then from that point, the low time frame actually switched to bullish. As you can see right here, we started forming higher highs and higher lows. So at this point, I didn't take any more trades until the trend actually switched on the low time frame again. And then once we did get a new lower low here, followed by a lower high, this was my favorite trade of the day right here. This one was just so clean. As you can see, we have rejection candle, rejection candle, rejection candle, and then another rejection candle, 4 in a row. And I got in on this red one right here. And from that point, I was just targeting this prior low that had been made here. And while this looks like a small trade or like a scalp or whatever, the circumstances of the trading day were really weird today. Let me get rid of this level here. So while this looks like this was just a quick little scalp, and it did end up being that, this was a move from 25,555 all the way down to 25,498. So this was over a 55-point push here in just a very, very short amount of time. So these are not regular market conditions by any means for NQ, but this was the trading day today, and this is just how things were working out. So again, instead of me going for insane pushes for hundreds of points at a time, I'm just going to take what I'm going to get, and this approximately 60-point move is plenty of profit for me for the trading day today. And then this leads me to the final trade that I ended up making before I hit my $10,000 profit goal for the day. And at this point, during this chop, I had taken a couple break-even trades throughout here, but it's nothing of importance. It was just based on these rejection candles that we were getting right here, just looking for some new lower lows and lower highs to fill. And as you can see here, we're consistently having these rejection candles at lower highs, telling me that this is potentially a good time to short, along with the insane price action that we had already seen throughout the trading day today. Targeting this prior low right here, this is the daily low from the New York Open. I was able to enter in on this green rejection candle right here, and then I took my stop loss up to the top of the wick and my take profit down to this level right here at 25,469. And this trade basically went directly to take profit in just 2 minutes. This was another huge trade, about a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So again, risking right around $1,000, and it ends up paying out a little bit more than $3,000 in the process. So altogether, each of these trades were right around $3,000, and they all worked out just about as good as they possibly could have for me, giving me a $10,000 profit on the day and locking in all the profit I need to take a full $25,000 max payout from Top Step. So that wraps up this video. This was easily the craziest trading session of my entire life, the most profit I've ever made in a single day. And then at the same time, I took 0 losing trades. I took a couple break evens, but every other trade that I took went to full profit. I was able to make $10,000 across 5 different accounts, giving me $50,000 profit on the day in just a couple hours of actually trading.